there would be something crazy, and we need to stop pausing and stuff. Um, yes, it does sound worse in my head if I said male to female instead of female to male when it comes to this. But if you're talking about double standards and you want those
Mhm.
double standards to go away, you have to keep things equal. Because yes, if my son came home to me was just like I bagged if my 16-year-old came home with a 25-year-old woman and she wasn't his teacher and it was consensual, yes, that's still statutory, but I would say that's maybe better than the teacher because the teacher is someone you're giving your child to every day that's supposed to be like an important person. If your son was just like I'm having sex with the babysitter, like okay, like that's not as bad as like a professional. But like if I was like my daughter's like getting groped by her doctor, okay,
Mhm.
checkmate, bro. Like yes, it's just there's certain jobs you hold to a higher standard. You know what I'm saying? Like
No, no, I don't understand. I understand that it's easier to accept a young man being taken advantage. It's easier to digest than
I
a
got a
young
question.
woman
I got a question
being
for
able
this.
to
Your
digest. That's
son,
what
your
I'm saying.
son, your son's bagging a 25-year-old teacher, or your son's bagging a 25-year-old college girl. What would you rather prefer?
Both are fine because it's a boy.
Okay.
Honestly, because I myself was a 13-year-old boy and would have had no problem sleeping with a 25-year-old at 13. D,
You
be real with me. Be real with me, D. At 13 years old, would you have went home crying to your mom if you slept with a 25-year-old girl at 13 years old?
No, I don't think he would have gone home crying, but I don't think it's
Connor,
fair.
would you have went home crying if you
No,
13-year-old slept with a 25-year-old girl?
no, but it's like I
Right.
said.
My point exactly. D, do you agree or no? Tell me if I'm wrong. Am I wrong?
I wouldn't say it's wrong.
Now,
Hold on, let me finish.
okay.
The whole time y'all been going, I've been listening. Y'all go at this like a good, I don't know how long.
Okay.
Too long. I want to go to bed.
Connor, calm down. God damn
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah. We having a good time.
You was getting pussy for the past. Come on.
No, I wasn't. I'm not going to talk about it. Go ahead.
I would say, I mean, if you're 13-year-old, I mean, you get lucky with your teacher. I mean, I wouldn't go bragging to people. I would keep that to myself.
But you wouldn't be disturbed by it. You wouldn't be like having trouble sleep at night, right? You wouldn't need a counselor at some point in your life if you did it, right?
If I was
You
man
don't
up,
know.
if
You
I was man
probably
up to make
would.
that decision to
Oh
go
my
up,
god.
go up there and agree to that, then I mean,
I'm not gonna lie. I'll say it on this podcast. I lost my virginity at 12 years old. The same understanding I have about vagina and sex has not changed as a man with me being 26 years old. There's no change. I'm telling you,
Honestly,
So let me ask you a question. Have you mentally changed behind it? Because none of us here are qualified to answer this, but I'd love to compare your brain on an X-ray compared to a completely, by the book good kid at the age of 10 years old. I'd love to compare that and see what the difference would be if we would ever do it. But obviously,
but
too
but
late now
but,
because
but here's my argument to that. Everybody's different. I would like us to talk about. I don't want us to be on this for all night. But what my idea to that is, we all develop at a different pace, bro. We all are
yes,
different
you
people.
all develop at a different pace, but
We
generally
all
speaking,
develop.
boys, no, because
And then it's what your parents expose you to. If your parents expose you more to a sexual prowess lifestyle, maybe through marriage or your mom having a lot of dudes around, or your dad having a lot of women around, or your parents being in a very healthy, loving relationship, maybe sex isn't such a pure conversation for you, even as a 13-year-old or a 14-year-old. It's not different for you because you understand it because you've seen it your whole life, or you at least have what you believe as a falsified idea of what sex is, and it's not a big deal to you because you've seen it your whole life. Compared to somebody who's been raised by a very religious family where sex is a very peculiar thing and done behind closed doors. I'm just saying.
I will tell you right now, I almost guarantee you a child exposed to sex too early and has experienced that type of stuff does face some type of like change in their understanding of life than someone who hasn't.
I believe you mature. I most definitely, as somebody that
Sure.
I feel like I'm speaking for myself as somebody who was 12 years old, losing his virginity. I don't think it damaged me. I think it most definitely made me mature and smell myself and was like, yo, I like that as a man. One, that's what I was created and being trained to do one day is mate with a woman.
Go.
How old was the girl when you was 12, Chris?
She was only 2 years older than me.
She was 14.
Mm-hmm.
So go see a therapist. I would love for you to go see a therapist.
But for what reason should I see a therapist, though?
Go see a therapist and say, like, I lost my virginity at 12. Do you think that caused any psychological or something trauma? And I would love to see what a professional says.
I would love to see it too. I feel perfectly fine. I feel like my life has upworld.
Also feels perfectly fine. Serial killers. I don't think they ever feel like
But here's my thing. But here's my thing. My actions haven't led me to trial. My actions from that moment, I haven't done anything in my life that has put me in a position where I needed a lawyer to take care of myself because I was guilty of anything.
Just because you're guilty of anything doesn't mean you're not, like, suffering from some type of psychological or.
I would like to know what that is. I wouldn't mind speaking with a psychiatrist. That's how comfortable I am in myself and knowing who I am as an individual and what it made for me.
From the information that I've gained, the very little amount of like discussion I've had with this, just because of the schooling and what I've been through, like as a teacher and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Any time was maybe this because this happened one time. I don't know how often this was an occurrence for a 12-year-old, but like.
Oh, by the way, James, we can't see you. I don't know if you don't know that we're not able to see you. By the way,
I know I'm being a fat ass right now. I'm eating.
Okay, Connor, please keep going. I'm sorry.
I think that it's going to cause an issue. Like, yes, if it was a one-time deal, maybe it's not as like you would change what that means for someone, and yeah, I guess so. But I'm just saying that yes, people mature at different rates, but statistically speaking, males mature at a slower rate than females. Females mature faster than males.
Not sexually. I don't think sexually.
Yes, they definitely do sexually.
I don't think so. I'm saying that to say I am not the only young boy that has sex before the age of 14. I'm not saying I'm that guy.
I'm telling you right now that sexual maturity for a female happens before male's sexual maturity. And I know
women mature faster than us. I believe they mature faster than us. If I'm correct, tell me if I'm incorrect.
Mature faster than us in all aspects.
Right.
You're saying that, like, yes, a young woman usually was in the medieval, older, and those back in the day were like they do
correct,
like child brides to older men who were able to conceive. You very rarely had like young boys. Yes, there were some places that taught young men how to pleasure a woman at a very young age, especially in converts and stuff like that, by older females. But like, no, I do think that if I go look at the science right now on my computer, women do mature sexually faster than males do.
But Connor, even what you're saying though, there has to be there's obviously other men that feel even close to what I'm saying as a truth, because a judge just gave a woman who is a professional in our country only 60 days for sleeping with an underage child for 60 days.
Yeah,
and she was sleeping with this young child for 3 years. 3 years. If a man sleeps with a young girl for 3 hours, he's going to jail forever.
Well, if you think about it, sometimes that doesn't happen. I forget the case where there was like that swimmer in that college who came from a very like affluent family. He was caught like basically raping a girl in like a hallway or like in an alleyway, and the judge was just like, he doesn't need to spend 60 years of his life for 60 seconds of a wrongdoing. That was when a male got away with potentially like sexual assault and rape. And if you ask a lot of women, 9 times out of 10, when a woman accuses a man that she was sexually assaulted or raped, they're usually right in those scenarios. Now, yes, there are some cases where a man didn't do it, and that's always a fear of mine as a teacher and a professional, that's a very serious complaint that can be lodged against me, but males have the advantage there. So, like, it's a tit-for-tat system.
Right.
But, It's,
So D answer this question from the knowledge that you have right now, sitting in your chair, in your very well lit room.
yeah, don't look it up, bro.
Don't look it up. Just answer just honestly. Have more cases been announced and done from women sleeping with underage boys or from men sleeping with underage women? How many cases do you believe? Just thinking right now. Don't look up anything. What do you feel like has been in a court case more? Men sleeping with underage women or women sleeping with underage men? With boys?
Probably been from a man's standpoint. Probably been.
Right. My point exactly. And let me ask Connor this question. Connor, in cases where overage women are sleeping with underage boys, who in these cases to trial, men or women? Men or women, Connor? Men or women, Connor? Which one do you think, brother?
Are you asking me who reports their cases more? Like,
Who do you feel like, even before we look it up, who do you feel like reports more of older women sleeping with young men? Who do you think reports these cases to trial, men or women?
probably women.
Well, exactly.
I
Because guess what? If James's son is 17 years old, sleeping with a 23-year-old teacher, James probably isn't going to say shit he will never tell you guys.
No, all right, Chris, let me ask you this.
Okay.
You're sleeping with your teacher. If your mom finds out, whose ass is she about to beat?
But who's not going to be mad? My dad or my mom? Who's not going to be mad?
I didn't ask who's being mad. I'm saying, like, you know your mom. You sleep with your teacher in, like, middle school, and your mom finds out. What's your mama gonna do?
But guess who's not gonna act different in a negative way?
I didn't ask you what.
Okay, say it again. I'm sorry.
Answer my question.
I'm sorry. Say it again.
You sleep with your teacher in middle school.
Okay.
You come home, right? Let's say that she sent you a message, and your mom reads through your phone and finds out, and she knows it all. Let's say that she figures it all out. Whose ass is your mom about to beat? Because your mom is gonna act differently than your dad. Is your mom gonna get mad at what you're doing?
Obviously, yeah, of course. But that's a woman though. Sexual assault and predatory rape is way different for women than it is for men. Wow. Now let me ask you this. D, are you going to be more mad if a male teacher has sex with your son over a female teacher? Yes or no?
Yeah, I'm gonna be mad.
Are you? Be honest with me. This is an honest space right now. I want to be real. Would you be more upset if a male teacher had sex with your underage son or a female teacher?
Well, let me put this way. If I send my kid to state, and that's
correct.
Anybody messing with my kid, it doesn't have to be.
Correct, but dude, I'm asking you just for discipliness right now.
I'm going to bed. Y'all can keep talking. This is
all right. I have one more question. Connor. If you go,
ask your one question, I'll answer, and I'm going.
All right then. Before we get going, all right. I don't know if you all have seen the video. LeBron has a son. His oldest son. He has two sons. His oldest son has been blowing up on the internet lately because he's overseas right now in Europe, and he did a very amazing dunk on somebody.
LeBron, that's why it's famous.
Oh, that's not what I'm saying. That's not the question. He did a very amazing dunk. I'm not going to do the video because I can explain it better in the video. Okay, it would take a series of videos. So he dunked on a guy.
Yeah, what's the question?
A sports reporter named Skip Bayless. I'm explaining for James. And D if they haven't heard the question. 1 second, sir. Skip Bayless,
I'm not going to listen to
Skip Bayless made an ill-retorted comment towards LeBron's son. He's also only 17 years old. He's still a child, technically. How do you guys feel about if it's in the correct practice, if it's in the right field of, commentating on children? Is it okay for adults to make ill regard and career-based decisions? All he said was that "Hey, Bronny," I'm paraphrasing by the way. He said, "Hey, Bronny, great dunk, but LeBron would have dunked it left-handed on the left side." He pretty much was like, and hold on a second, hold on a second. Whatever you're about to say, I don't agree with because Skip got hit with a lot of slander and a lot of backlash for that comment to the point that he had to make a whole response the next day on this show. So that's also not true what you're about to say. So what I'm saying, how you feel as an adult, is it appropriate to comment on kids doing whatever they're doing in their space as a child? Is it an appropriate topic for you to discuss anything children are doing and critique them harshly like an adult would critique another adult? Do you think that is appropriate?
They do it anyway now. I'm out. They do it anyway now. 100%. 100%. Adults do that all the time. It's
How so?
Doug,
How so?
Go to a football game. Go to a football game. Parents will be ridiculing their children for sucking balls.
But this isn't on a global level. This is on a national television show.
It's because it was on a national television show. I'm going to bed.
Connor, hold on, Connor. Bro, goddamn. What's the issue, Connor? Hold on. What's the issue, Connor?
I'm tired. I want to go to bed. Work sucks. Deuces.
Connor, goddamn.
Well, it's all good, y'all. So you guys tell me, D, James, how do you feel? Is it appropriate for an adult to comment on anything a child is doing on the level of degrading that individual as a teenager?
I don't know. What do you mean by degrading?
Let me give you an example. Right now, this time, if you don't mind me saying, at this time, you're working, you install doors, you install windows, correct?
Yes,
correct.
Yes, it is.
D, if I may say, you at this time you are a mechanic, correct? All right. Let's say at this time, very popular Twitch star, TikTok star, YouTube star, whatever it be, makes a series of videos installing doors and windows and being a mechanic. You as being a very installer and window installer and mechanic that millions of people watch you on a daily basis. You come across this individual's video. Is it appropriate for you to critique to the point of ridiculing this young individual for doing something as a teenager? Is it okay? Is it appropriate for you to critique to darn near harassing this individual as a teenager while you're doing your job as a professional?
I wouldn't harass them, but
you're harassing them. You're harassing them at this point in a sense. Is that appropriate because you're a professional, correct? And you have the right to make your critiques about anybody that's trying to do it professionally. But this is a teenager, and you know he's trying to get into the business as soon as he finished any other element of his life that he's trying to be. He's trying to be a professional. He's doing everything correct to be a professional. What do you have?
I'm gonna let D answer first because D's been hella quiet.
Yeah, you've been quiet, D. I would like to hear you talk, sir. I apologize.
Everybody have stuff, and they have different ways of doing stuff. I mean, however way they do it, or however way they feel comfortable doing it, that's them. Change their way of doing stuff. He's installing you can't really say he's installing it wrong, or the way I work in the car, you can't tell me I'm doing it the wrong way. Everybody has different ways of doing stuff.
Correct.
But as far as critiquing the person until you're harassing them, I mean, no, that's not right. But
what's your definition of harassment?
I mean, like, if you're critiquing them to where, like, you're basically bashing them and saying that they're doing it wrong, or they shouldn't do it this way, or they should have stopped, or like they shouldn't do it anything. Basically saying that they should quit what they're doing. I mean, that's about it.
What if I said your dad would have dropped that engine better than you did? What if you were posting a video of you dropping the engine by yourself, no assistance, but I said your dad would have dropped that engine better one-handed?
I'm just saying I've done that by myself, no issues. But go ahead.
I mean, okay, he dropped it better, but I mean, I have different ways of doing stuff.
Right.
So, yeah, he may drop it better, but I have my own way of dropping it more.
Okay.
But So that's like if like you have your F-150 and you want to change your oil.
Right.
It one way, I do it different way.
Right.
I can critique you on certain points of how to do it safely, the way it make it a little more easier for you. But as far as I'm not gonna say you're doing the whole thing wrong, you gotta go back and do it all over again.
Right. What about you, James? What's your take on it, bro? Oh, I'm sorry. Keep going, D. I'm sorry.
No, I was gonna say, if you give like people pointers on how to change your stuff, like if he said like, hey, it may be like if you did the dunk maybe this way, it might could have been a little better.
You stupid. You stupid. Hey, I'm gonna just say this. We have reached the chocolate takeover hours of the podcast. This is full chocolate.
Perfect.
Full chocolate takeover, D. Then you want to always appreciate it on the podcast, D. We appreciate you.